literally, Julia, you kind of forced me to think hard about this week for the first time. I was still like, I guess it's a little weird to come out with a book that isn't like AI first right now, but I'm only doing it because it was just something like people kept asking me to come do speeches on, and like, wow, that was like the top performing speech. And like Stanford Business School said, can we publish this? And then Wiley called it was just all like happened. And also I'm like giving all the proceeds to McLean Hospital for mental health, which is like probably one of the biggest motivators for me. Um, but I did have confidence that similar to sales acceleration formula, and you pointed that out in your nice note last week. I do think these are timeless principles, and some of the underlying mechanics may adjust a little bit or a bit with AI. Did you have other thoughts, Julia, as you like were thinking about it? I don't know.
Yeah, I had a very different experience reading your book, I think 5 years ago and now.
Yeah, and
And
just to be clear, that was the sales acceleration formula, right?
yeah,
Which is more of like an autobiography of how I use a day journal. So, but yeah, cool. Feel free to chime in on that.
I don't want to dominate the 9 minutes we have here, but yeah, I'm first of all really fascinating to hear your growth formula in the agentic age. If you have a minute and can do some sequel on the book or I don't know, LinkedIn post, more events, that would be really great. And
Okay.
Mark, I would love to address the ethics of scaling. I know you mentioned in some
Oh yeah,
podcasts
yeah,
um, as of late, I think in actually Zoom Info, they have James Roth here. Um, and yeah, we have a lot of, I don't know, like really wild news in the industry with 11x
yeah,
and others. So you mentioned that uh, GTM will be always based on customer success and
yeah,
obviously retention, adoption. So with this comes generally like the challenge of what's the ethics of scaling and
yeah. Sure,
growth
that's
at all
great.
costs.
That's great. Yeah, there's so I can't say that I'm an A plus student of both the deal and the 11x situations. Like some people know, a listener know more, some people probably know less. My understanding is with deal, they're accused by Rippling of um, paying someone to get a job at Rippling so that they had insider viewpoints, insider information on like how the data in the CRM and how they're going against it. And there's countersuits and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, that's just like, spying, right? I'll let the courts decide what that is. I think there's a particular legislation they're trying to point to. It does sound very sketchy to me, and does sound very unethical if the claims are true. I mean, there are smaller versions of that that many people do, which some people are ethically, think it's okay, and some people not, which is the secret shopper thing. I know there was a lot of people, a lot of our competitors had friends take demos from HubSpot to see how we pitched and purposely asked, what do you think about X company to see how they position us against that? That's a common practice. And I think people are different on the different ethical bounds, but like, I think that's my perception on deal. And then 11X, I think that one was more about misrepresentations of data. I did look at the 11X deal, and it was certainly stated to me very differently than what I've been reading in the press on what their actual numbers were with churn and revenue. That does sound very fishy to me. Of course, like it's the job of the founder to sell the company, right? And to like, but there's a line, right? Like you can show a certain level of optimism, even at the street level with the public markets. They need to create an accurate one, but they also should be, oftentimes they're optimistic about things they're pursuing. But like when you tell someone that revenue is X and it's Y, like there's a line. And I'll let the courts decide. We've had some rulings in the past. Now, with the ethics of scale, there's examples of like how you never want to have a business that's going to destroy society with pollution and stuff. And that's why I think a lot of technicians, including myself, have been pontificating about the economic and societal impacts of AI because we don't want to be bringing that to market if we're not feeling good about the impact. And that, I think that's a very separate conversation and one that I think I'm still understanding myself. But with regard to scale, I do broach the ethical subject with my students because when we teach the founder selling class, we do root some of the concepts in behavioral psychology principles that, I would say like this is my basic framework of how personal selling works. And it's not like I can't say it in 5 words. This is as simple as I could say it. The way that sales works, and they're coming in thinking that it's about persuasive presentations, right? So they're like way off, right? The way that sales works is step number one, it's about developing quick trust with the prospect so that you could ask open-ended questions about their perspective, their priorities, the opportunities they're pursuing, the challenges they're trying to address. And through that dialogue, you can navigate the conversation toward the area that you solved in order to explore whether or not they think that's important and how they think they're going to solve it. If they think the problem you solve is critical and they are looking for a solution, they're looking to solve it in the same way that you solve it, great. Tailor the presentation to their context so they can really connect with it and spend a lot of time with that deal because you're going to close a lot of those. If they are not in that bucket, if they are prioritizing the problem but have a different solution in mind, a different way to solve it, or they're prioritizing other problems and not yours, then you have to ask yourself a question. And this is the ethical part.